Boo up, wop, wop, boo up.
Hey, yeah.
Sometimes I have songs stuck in my head, and sometimes it feels like I like when we watch Inside Out and peppermint gum like it's so fitting. I'm like, yes, no wonder random ass songs just come up to your head sometimes.
And it's never the full song. It's always just like one or two lines that you're like, just stuck in your head.
Like I don't even think I know the rest of the song, like the lyrics to boo up.
I don't think there's many more.
That's a lot more. That's a lot more lyrics.
Zubidapa. No, because that song
remember.
has a verse, and I don't think I know it.
No, it's like the peppermint gum. All right, so we are talking about Inside Out 2.
Number 2.
This episode.
Hi.
So we hope you watched it. If not, spoiler alert. Go watch it. If you
Go
haven't.
watch it. Get ready. Hope you packed your tissues.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. Where were you when I feel like this is where were you when Inside Out 1 came out?
Okay, I didn't watch it when it first came out because it came out in like 2015 or something. I don't think I watched it until it had been out for a couple years, and I watched it for the first time with you.
Oh, I didn't even realize that, which is so crazy because you are such an emotional person.
Yeah,
Like
too much. It's too much.
like, and in a good way. Like you're such an emotional person that I would think like this is right up your alley.
And I like Pixar movies too, but
Yeah. I watched Inside Out 1 with my younger brother Dante.
oh my god.
And I was not ready.
Did you think it was going to be like as emotional as it was?
No.
Of course not.
I was not ready. I was like, okay, there'll be some emotion. Like, I don't know. Like Pixar does a good job of like tricking you. They do a great job of being like, this is fun
and
come
cute.
On. Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, let me tug out your heart, rake it into 6 pieces, stomp on it, sew it back up. But it's a little worse for the wear. But then they put it back in your
together.
house.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a little bit better than when they
Stronger.
took it out. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
More sturdy. I don't know. Yeah.
And I had taken a edible, but I took like one of those cookie edibles. This is when edibles were homemade.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Before they were like, this is a 2.5 milligram.
right before you had any warnings, right? The good old days and the bad old days, depending on how the trip you took. But so I ate this like cookie edible that I was really underestimating because I was like, it hasn't hit, and that was the worst when you'd be like, it doesn't hit, and then all of a sudden you take the other half and you're like, okay,
I'm in Mars.
This just smacked me.
I'm in Mars.
So I took this cookie edible. Me and my brother went to go see Inside Out 1, and I am sobbing.
That's hilarious.
Sobbing. It's like one of those cries where, because you're in the movie, so you're embarrassed, so you're like trying to hold it together, trying to hide yourself, and you're still crying. You're like, this movie's ass.
Oh my god! Did Dante cry?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Pisces.
If you don't cry, I'm like, there's something wrong with you.
You have problems.
Yeah. I cried on the plane watching Toy Story 3.
Please.
And that was another one I wasn't ready
Yeah, that one
for.
was. Yeah. And Toy Story 4 also made me cry. Pretty much every Pixar movie makes me cry. Pretty much every single one.
Is Monsters Inc. Pixar?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't like Monsters Inc. that much. You love it.
I
do not
Monsters,
love
Inc.
Monsters Inc. that much.
I felt that way. Okay, the first time I saw, that's how I felt about Finding Nemo.
Oh my!
I didn't love it as, but that one, oh my god!
You didn't love it as much?
Not when I first watched it. Like the first time I saw it, I was probably like 10. So I think I was on the cusp of like, I'm too old for this.
Right.
But then I would watch it and I was like, this movie slaps.
Yeah.
And this is so emotional and so sweet. And that's one of my favorites.
And
Remember
that's
it?
so funny because I feel like you cry at everything, especially like anything to do with like children and parents. I feel like
it's too much. It's so emotional. Do you remember when we went to go see Finding Dory in movie theaters?
Mm-hmm.
That was one of our first dates, I think. And I think we cried at that.
Please.
And it was like a midday movie too, which is like nothing's more embarrassing. I remember specifically it was like a midday summer movie. And like we went into the dark movie theater, sobbed, and then we had to like come outside to the blinding
and enjoy the rest of your day.
New York sun in the summer and then just be like, okay, should we go drink.
Should we go to a rooftop bar?
I'm upset. Like,
should we go to a rooftop bar and pay $30 for a vodka cranberry?
For real.
So okay, so Inside Out, and then we watched it together and we cried. Every time I watch Inside Out 1, I cry. Sometimes I cry at the same things. Sometimes I cry at something different.
Yes.
Like, it depends on the mood I'm in.
Well, Inside Out, the original, nothing got me more than Bing Bong. Please, I don't want to.
Oh, because
you don't need to make fun of me.
You have your own stuffed animal that you've had.
Was he a stuffed? He was an imaginary friend.
He was an imaginary friend, but I feel like it's kind of the same.
Yeah.
I feel like your stuffed animal is like your imaginary son.
Yeah. Please.
You have a stuffed animal that you refuse to let go of.
I won't.
Peter Rabbit.
I love him. That's my son. No, but
I knew that would
You did know, and you literally. I think you warned me when we watched. I thank God we watched that for the first time together in this house.
Thank God, yeah.
Because I was like the wailing and gnashing of teeth. It was like ripping out my hair with the emotions. Oh my God, it was too much when he disappeared. I was like,
what did I warn you about?
About Bing Bong. You're like you will not fare well with this. I forget what you said, but you prepped me.
Yeah, for Bing Bong, because I knew if you have a heart, Bing Bong gets to you.
Well, also if you have a stuffed animal that's older than you that you still keep in your bedroom, maybe. I don't have problems, I swear. My
favorite Pixar movie is Toy Story, though. That will go down like I will get a Toy Story tattoo. Like,
you would?
I would. I love Toy Story that much. Like,
okay, that's cute.
That was like
Toy Story is really good.
It's my favorite Pixar movie. I just feel like it has everything. I didn't cry. I think I just felt really bad for Woody.
Yeah.
When he was like, strange things are happening to me. Like that whole sequence or whatever. Yes. I'm like,
it kind of is. As an adult, I tear up watching it.
Yeah.
But as a kid, I feel like you can, if you have a heart, you're like, oh, that's sad.
You're like, Woody, Andy's a go. I mean, you're like, Andy, Woody's a go. Why would you do that?
Yeah, he's literally the best.
And you're like, Buzz Lightyear's a tool. I was Team Woody.
I was Team Woody too.
I was Team Woody.
I think Toy Story is the OG, like, real first Pixar movie.
Yeah.
I think it might actually be their first. Or definitely Toy Story shaped how Pixar approaches making films for children and stuff.
They said, I feel like Pixar have taken this this is gonna be emotional, like, for all ages kind of approach now.
Yes.
Like, I feel like they're like, yeah, we know millennials are gonna watch this. Yeah. We know Gen X is gonna watch this. We know Gen Z is gonna watch. Like, I feel like they do they're just like therapy. Pixar is like therapy movie.
Oh my God.
Like, watching Inside Out 2, imagine being like in high school and getting to watch Inside Out 2, and then you get to be like, oh, that's anxiety that I feel.
I know.
Because you don't always know your emotions. Like, especially growing up, I feel like we didn't talk about our emotions as much.
It's so true. And I guess we're so in touch with our emotions now in this generation. You say that, and I'm like, and I've heard other people talk about that too. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really realize that. But yeah, like we didn't talk about emotions a lot, even 10 years ago.
Yeah, like at all. You just like knew you were happy, angry. Like, I feel like it was very basic. I feel like it was like primary colors.
Yes. Oh my God.
Like,
yeah.
Very basic. Yeah. Like very like blue, red, whatever, you know.
What's the other one?
Green?
Yellow.
Oh, yellow?
Yellow.
You sure?
Yellow.
Is it green?
No, because
blue and yellow make green. Yeah.
Welcome to color theory.
So Inside Out 2, we're like, me and Kate are like, okay, it's got to be a treat yourself day.
It had to be.
It had to be a treat yourself day.
It did.
And we did a very smart thing. We watched it in 3D.
Yes.
So people wouldn't see our tears.
No, that was unintentional, but a big flex on our part, because I think when we literally were able to keep the glasses on as the credits were rolling, and I started crying like 5 minutes into the film. Immediately. Yeah. When you hear that ding, 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 ding.
You're like, oh,
I like tear up thinking about, I'm going to cry. Oh my God.
No.
Wait, that's so embarrassing.
This is sad.
Whew, okay.
That's sad.
Nobody tell
Nobody, everybody
Please,
tell.
please don't.
This is worldwide now.
Whew, yeah.
Well, the first time I got mad, not mad, sad and Inside Out 2 was when her friends are like, we're going to a different high school.
Oh my God.
I'm like, I'm like,
Are we
okay.
gonna cry?
I'm like, this is when it starts.
Yeah.
I'm
You're
like, let me get my Kleenex from my pocket.
We didn't even bring tissues. That's so embarrassing.
But
Oh
we
my
took
God.
the tissue from the movie theaters, the hard napkins that cut your eyes.
Yeah, like,
that was the first. I was like, okay, here comes Inside Out.
oh.
Here comes the Inside Out.
No, I think for me it was when they talked about her sense of self and when they were like, she's a good kid. Like, this is all the good stuff she does. And you see her like mature from, you know, she was like a preteen. Or I mean, she's a preteen now, but like from being like an elementary school to a middle school kind of kid. You're like,
and when they're like, this is her beliefs. And
the
then
beliefs, yes.
they like string on it,
Like play with a harp.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm a good person.
Yeah.
I'm a good friend. I'm a good person.
Stop. We have to stop talking.
You can't cry, Kate. Like, you have to be a professional here.
I know, it's so, because I'm going to make you cry.
No, I'm not going to cry.
I don't believe it. I'm going to have a sip of water.
So we're watching Inside Out 2. Anything you want to say?
I love the way that they portrayed going into puberty. I thought it was just like so freaking accurate and funny.
When her mom comes in.
And she like literally goes through all of the new emotions. It was so stupid and so good. I mean, because they introduced they introduced anxiety, obviously,
But before they introduce the emotions, it's just them five. And remember, they're like, what's happening with Riley? The alarm goes off, and then she's like, they take their turns. They're like, I got it.
Yes,
and then,
yes.
And then she's like, what's wrong? Get away from me, Mom. I don't want to talk. Like, she goes through all the emotions that we go through.
Yes.
As a teenager, but also, like, still as a woman when I'm PMSing.
Period.
You know what I mean? Period. So I feel like that was so funny because I was like, that is accurate. Like, it's also so nice to see because sometimes when you have to deal with children, you kind of forget that they're going through that too, you know, because you're like, your life is so simple. But it's like, life is always complex.
Yeah.
Once puberty hits, it's over.
I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like once those emotions come in, they just don't go away. And so then you just are like, okay, I'm any range of like these 12 emotions that are like cycling through my system. And I don't know which one you're going to get. Sorry.
Yeah. It's also so cool, like getting to see Riley, like, I feel like in Inside Out 1, Riley had to deal with like family things, family matters, no Drake.
Yes. Oh my God, all Kendrick.
But she had to deal with family matters stuff and like moving, but like personal change. And this one in Inside Out 2, it is personal change, but it's social change more.
Yeah.
Which I like, you know, because it's like going to a new school, like trying to fit in, trying to not be awkward, like all that good stuff. I feel like, you know, we can relate to so much.
Because everyone goes through that. Not everyone necessarily moves or does that type of situation, but everyone has to go to middle school or high school at a certain point, and that comes with its own sort of baggage.
And make new friends.
Yeah.
And so we get to we already have anger, disgust, fear, joy and sadness. Hilarious. Sadness is hilarious.
She was so good in this movie. She grew on me in this one.
She's low-key a goat. I liked her in the first one. She would just cry like all the time. And when she was dragging her hands through the balls.
Yes, and changing them all blue.
Yeah, that was like such a mood.
I know.
Yeah.
Do you ever go through like when you're feeling sad or any specific emotion and then you go through like your memories of maybe the day or whatever and then it just tinges everything that emotion?
Like if you're thinking about
like if you're sad and you're like thinking about all the memories of your day and then you're like, oh, all of this is sad.
You know what happens sometimes? I'll be sad, right? And you know what I do? It's like a kink. I'll listen to sad music. And then I'm like,
but there's nothing more cathartic. There's nothing more cathartic than doing that.
Yeah.
Listening to like sad music or watching a sad movie when you're sad and you're like,
it's like It's like you're feeding your sadness in some weird way.
Yeah. But you gotta feed it sometimes.
So we get introduced into anxiety because Riley's trying out for this new hockey team.
Yeah, the high school hockey team.
Yeah, so anxiety shows up. Anxiety, ennui,
who is one of my favorites.
boredom. No, embarrassment.
Embarrassment and envy.
Envy, yes. Which you and I both said we wish we would have saw a little bit of envy more.
Yeah, she kind of didn't eat the way I wanted her to.
And Envy didn't eat. She didn't eat as much.
She did not.
She only had that one line at the end
where you're like, oh.
Where she's like, Joy is talking about a plan, and Envy is like, I wish I would have came up with that. And Joy's like, you did. And she's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like, that shows envy, but also maybe, like, you don't experience a lot of envy in middle school. That's more high school.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's more like 16, 17, 18.
Yeah, I don't remember being envious, really, in middle school. I loved that they had ennui. Ennui was like, I wish we got a little bit more of ennui, but ennui, like, for the moments that ennui had, it was so funny.
Ennui also didn't eat, though.
No,
they had their phone and, like, I don't know.
I have, like, such a fondness for the emotion of ennui because I had a drama teacher in middle school tell my parents that I just was a child with a lot of angst and ennui, which is, like, so insane.
And wasn't your mom surprised?
She was like, what the fuck does that mean?
She's like, I can't believe it. This kid who reads Twilight and Hunger Games has ennui.
Oh my God.
Like,
I know. Feeding the beast.
Yeah,
literally feeding the drama.
Feeding ennui.
I know. It's so funny.
But we get introduced to Anxiety. Anxiety is the main character in this one. How did you feel about Anxiety?
Oh my, I wanted to throttle her. But that's, I mean, I thought she was like a perfect representation, especially of like preteen anxiety.
I thought they got her down to the T.
To the T.
Like,
from her craggly little hair, her little. First of all, whoever like design like the shapes that they make with these characters are amazing. But her she had like little scraggly. Her hair looked like what my hair looks like right now, and yes, I am anxious, so it fits. Like her little wiry hair, but her
little like cracked out energy too.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
Like, take it down, crackhead. She's like, she's like, we got to make things right. Like, I think they like it was perfect, and I also, you know what I really loved. I feel like, and I don't know if anyone listening, if you're a performer or maybe you're not a performer and you're like, I still get a lot of anxiety. But what I loved was how they showed how anxiety uses your imagination against you.
Yes.
Because like Joy and them, they get lost, and Joy and the other emotions get kicked out by anxiety. And then Anxiety has this like little panel where she like goes to Riley's imagination land, and she's like, draw up the worst possible scenarios.
Yeah.
And like Joy and them go in there and they're like, she's using it for negative stuff. And I thought that was so amazing because I feel like as a performer, I've met a lot of performers with anxiety, and it's always the worst scenarios. And I'm like, wow, it's our amazing imagination that we're creatives, we're performers, but anxiety uses that talent.
Oh my God.
For a negative thing.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that's so real.
You know what I mean? I was like, oh yeah, no wonder my anxiety is through the roof. I have an amazing imagination.
My brain can go in 18 different like spaces all at once, and it sure do. Sure do. Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you felt anxiety?
I don't remember the first time. I remember the first time I had a panic attack, but I don't remember I don't really remember the first time I had anxiety. Like, again, maybe going back to the fact that like we didn't really talk about anxiety when we were kids or teenagers. So I feel like I started to notice that I had anxious tendencies like in college, honestly. I think it took me till like college, which, I mean, knock on wood, that's a blessed perspective to have. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like,
you probably had it, just didn't know it was anxiety. Yeah. I didn't know I had anxiety until I became a performer. That's when I was like, oh, I've had anxiety for a long time.
Yeah.
I've had it before that, but I didn't know it was anxiety until I was a performer.
That's
when I was, let me tell you this.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, I had a ton of anxiety, right?
Really?
No shit.
Okay.
Probably a lot of people.
Yeah, sure.
But I thought my anxiety was like this like weird intuition of like the future.
Please.
So when I would feel anxiety, I would be like, something wrong is going to happen.
And
like
then
it
would
was like
something wrong happen?
Sometimes, yeah, but I think it was my anxiety making me make terrible decisions.
This like the self-fulfilling prophecy type situation.
Yeah, like
yeah.
a la Voldemort.
Oh my god, you were Lord Voldemort.
But
Yeah, for sure.
But like I thought it was like, I thought it was like spider senses.
Okay.
I was like, wow, I'm such a witch. I'm so intuitive. The whole time I thought like this was like a warning to my body was warning me that something bad was going to happen.
Interesting.
But looking back, I'm like, no, it was just anxiety.
Yeah. I don't really remember. I'm trying to think. Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like I had anxiety sometime. One of the first times I remember having anxiety actually was probably in high school when something went wrong.
Yeah.
And like I just remember feeling like the anxiety tummy, which is like the worst. Like,
but that's what I felt.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like spider senses. Like
it's funny that you thought it was spiders. I didn't know it was anxiety. I just was like, oh, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like one time I remember I had anxiety, like I had a shit ton of anxiety, and then I got into a fight.
Oh.
In high school.
Yeah.
And like I wonder if like I was being anxious, so I was like picking up like just being like extra sensitive and too aware, hyper aware, and like, you know, getting into this argument with this girl like was due to my anxiety. You know what I mean? Because sometimes anxiety like puts you on edge.
Yeah.
And it doesn't let you sleep, and so like you're not in a good mental space. So like I always look back to that like, oh man, like maybe my anxiety, like I thought I was like, see, I knew something wrong was gonna happen, but instead it was like I did it, you know?
Yeah, like you drove it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like anxiety makes you like hyper aware of things, and sometimes it's like it distorts the reality just slightly.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And it was. Do you remember your first panic attack?
Yeah.
What was that? What was it?
Okay. It's a funny story.
Well, we'll be the judge of that.
Well, so I was in Italy, and I was with two of my really good friends, and we weren't supposed to go out one night, and we snuck out, and it was, again, we were probably like 19, 20, whatever, young.
And you were in Italy like with class?
No, I was okay. No, I was visiting. So I used to do show choir in Europe. You know, I used to do electric youth. I would do show choir in Europe, and we would perform. And then the year after I graduated from high school, so it was my first year in college, I was very lucky that I got to fly out to Italy to see the end of the next batch of kids tour. And so it was me and two of my really good friends, two of my besties, and we just were like tooting and booting around Italy for a few days, which is no 19-year-old should be allowed. I mean, every 19-year-old should be allowed to do that, but it's reckless. And we snuck out and we went to a club or like a bar or whatever, and I don't know what came over me, but I had a panic attack. Like I just remember being no, it's like so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. It's like I literally
so embarrassing.
It's so embarrassing, and like it's giving Charlie XCX Brat album like release. Like I was in the club having a panic attack, and Meg, like my best friend, she had to just be like, gotta hug you because when you have a panic, because so if you don't know, like the best thing to do to fight a panic attack if you're with people is to like sort of give them like a hug or support, like because it kind of makes, I don't know what it does to the brain, but it's like a soothing technique.
Well, what's interesting is that like you're like, I snuck out. And it's like funny because in Italy, you're like legally allowed to be there.
Totally.
You're legal. So you're
Totally.
not even doing something illegal.
No,
you're just doing something naughty.
Yeah, we were being naughty.
And like, that's some people's like Friday night. Like that's some teenagers in New York. They're like 16 sneaking out and going to a club.
Julia Fox like is like out shooting up heroin like when she's supposed to be at the new school or whatever. Yeah. No, but the thing is that we were leaving the next morning and there wasn't power or something. There was like something, but also the parents, my parents were not there, but the other parents were like, no. And we were like, and we went anyway.
You said, but then you had
then I had a panic attack in the club bathroom.
You said,
and what?
And your anxiety said, girl.
My anxiety was like, no, bitch. Like,
no, your anxiety was like, yes, bitch.
Yeah, she was like, good. We need this. Yeah. Let's fuel off this. Let's make sure you hate yourself. But anyway, that was my first panic attack, and that was
what a nerd.
I know, it's so embarrassing.
My first panic attack was like when I was you were there for my first panic attack. I was waiting for you to get ready. We were going to the movies after your work shift. It's when you worked at a restaurant, and I was just waiting for you to get like you were done. You were about to clock out, and then all of a sudden, like my heart started beating so fast. Yeah, and then my brain turned into like only what I can describe to radio static.
Yeah, no, that's exactly.
I was like, I was like, whoa. I was like, what is this? Yeah, and I thought I was having a heart attack.
That was your first panic attack?
Yeah, ever. I've never had a panic attack before that. I've only had 2 panic attacks.
Oh, why did I? Okay.
So that was my first one.
Okay.
And my heart is going crazy, and I'm telling Kate, I'm like, I think I had a heart attack. And then like, she's like, you probably didn't. Like, you know me. I'm
not a doctor though, so don't listen to my medical advice.
But you also know that I'm kind of a hypochondriac. Not that I'm a hypochondriac. I just like
you are.
I just think I'm unlucky. So like I'm like, oh, I stubbed my toe. I got a foot infection.
Yeah, you're like, I definitely have one.
Yeah,
of those. Yeah, exactly. We must amputate.
Take it. It has an infection. Take it out now. Like,
yes.
I just think I'm so unlucky that things would happen to me like that.
Okay.
So I remember telling you like, oh, I had a heart attack. You're like, you probably didn't. But then we came home and you were like, try to relax, and I couldn't. But I think it was just like anxiety. Right? Like, I think I didn't know what was happening, so it was creating more anxiety.
Totally.
Because it was my first anxiety attack ever, panic attack.
Yeah.
And then I remember going to the City MD. We went to urgent care.
Yeah.
And this was so embarrassing because I was like, they ask you like your symptoms. And I was like, oh, you know, they were like, what you were doing? I was like, nothing. We were just getting ready. And then, to go to the movies, and then I'm like, they're like, your symptoms. I'm like, my heartbeat was beating really fast. My left arm did go numb.
Yeah, you did, and that's why we were like, okay, maybe.
And then my brain did like, you know, static. And then I also remember telling like the nurse, and I was like, I almost pooped myself. And you know, like sometimes things come out of your mouth and you're like, I should have not said that. And I looked at her and she was like, I don't think that has anything to do with it. And that was so humbling. She's like, girl, you just need to use the bathroom.
She's like, you are having a panic attack and a bowel movement. So I don't know. That's crazy.
But it makes sense too, right? Because like when I get nervous,
yes,
I have to use the bathroom. I have to do number 2.
I think that's a universal thing.
But mine is really bad. Yeah, like because when I first started doing stand up, I would get really really nervous and I couldn't eat all day.
Otherwise, it would upset your stomach. Yeah,
I would have to use the bathroom like 2 minutes before going up.
Yeah,
like I would get so nervous.
Yeah,
and you know, talking about like emotions and understanding your emotions, you know, I remember like the time that I was like, okay, you can't, because like sometimes I feel like I would get snippy too before doing stand-up.
Okay.
Like I would feel like I just had a bad day. Like I don't think some people understand. Like I would like spend all day like laying down, like being anxious and being nervous and like not eating. And I would just like not want to interact with anyone. And I'm like, okay, if you love doing stand-up and you say you enjoy this, you have to change your relationship with this.
Totally.
You cannot be like miserable all day.
Right.
Have your set, have a decent set, and then be happy for like the next 4 hours.
Yeah.
You can't live like that, especially if you're like, I love to do this.
Yes.
That's just not good.
It's not healthy.
Right. And so I remember like being like, okay, why am I nervous? And like, you know, discovering like your emotions, all of that. Like, to me, nervous and excitement are the same feeling. The only thing is when you're nervous, you are imagining the worst.
Yeah.
And when you're excited, you're imagining the best.
Totally.
So what I try to do, like what I'm trying to do with stand up, anytime I'm nervous, I just try to remember like, what am I excited to tell these people? Like, not what I'm nervous, what can go wrong. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because like sometimes you're like, oh, I can go up there and they won't laugh. You know, that could be like a thought for a stand up comedian. But now I'm like, oh, I can't wait to tell them this joke. They're really going to like it.
Yeah.
You know, so I had to like change. So like talking about, you know, knowing your emotions.
Well, it's important too. I think like anxiety does play so many tricks on you that I think being able to, that's such a good piece of advice. And you've told me that. I mean, that's not just something you pull out for the pod. That's something you say all the time. And I think it's so true. Like it's, because I deal with that too. I deal with that with anything I do, performing with my like job, like writing or whatever. And you're just like, okay, well, it's, you know, you have to frame. It's all about frame of reference. Like you're framing your mind the right way. Yeah. And you have to, because you believe it or not, and it's way easier said than done.
Absolutely.
Way easier said than done. But when I think you realize that you have the control, you have the control. But because anxiety can take over. I loved, like going back to the movie, I loved when Riley was having a panic attack and the imagery of like anxiety running around the console like frantically, like so much so that it was like this orange spiral, but then anxiety was like frozen in the center of the console, like just not able to do anything. But I was like, that is such a perfect visual representation of what having a panic attack feels like. And I mean, like what really bad anxiety feels like. Like your mind is going a billion miles a minute, but like you are just so frozen by the racing of your brain that you cannot do anything to sort of make it feel better. I was like, damn, that was like the one piece of it. That was the imagery that stuck with me the most from the movie. I think that was like crazy.
It was so spot on. Like,
yeah.
You know, anxiety is going crazy. Like, do this, do that, do that. What's happening? Like, it's going wrong. Like, let's do this. Let's fix that. And then all of a sudden, she's just like standing there, but
like her energy is like circling. Like, it was crazy.
And sometimes that's the feeling of having a panic attack or being so anxious that like you are present, but your thoughts are going so crazy that you're frozen. Yeah. So it was like such a perfect imagery. And it was just what I liked about it too is that it kind of showed the positivity of anxiety too, how you need anxiety. Like, not that you need anxiety, but that anxiety is there. And like, you know, anxiety made this one point of being like, well, if I don't prepare for the worst, then I'm not prepared. Yeah. And I feel like there's a good balance of like your anxiety pushing you to be prepared. Yes. But then like sometimes it goes beyond that, right? It goes, okay, let's be prepared, but now let's be prepared for the worst moments. Yes. And then that brings in your worst thoughts. Yeah. So like it was kind of, I loved that like anxiety wasn't a villain. It wasn't something you needed to get rid of. It was something you needed to learn to live with. To manage, yeah. And that's what I liked about it. Because, you know, sometimes movies are like, just get rid of it. Yeah. And it wasn't. Anxiety wasn't a villain. She just wanted Riley to thrive. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And I don't think Riley thrived when she dyed her hair, that stripe of hair pink. Oh that was cringe. That was so embarrassing. She went to go do that to be like the older girls. And I was like, no. Because the team, please. Like all of them have like a red stripe. Because what are they called? Red stripe in their hair. Like what were they called? The team? The Red Hawks? Mm-hmm. Something like that. Right? Like a red bird, some sort of red bird. I think Red Hawk is right though. And they had the stripe, the red stripe. Yeah, they like streaked their hair. Yeah. First of all, that's giving like 90s, like 2000s vibes, like with like dyeing your hair with like the one strip of it. But how cringe was it to watch Riley try to fit in? Oh, and she wasn't even on the team. Oh my God. Yeah, she wasn't on the TV. She was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna dye my hair.
And you're like, I understand why you're doing this, but please don't do it, please.
Like, I think everyone can relate, like, watching that scene, like, where Riley is all trying to fit in. I think you can relate, like, oh, and when she's on the couch and her friends are like, what do you mean? You love that band. We went to, and she's like, yeah, I love that band. And then sarcasm happens.
Oh my God, I know this, and I loved that they said sarcasm, like a chasm, and that was so stupid. It was so funny.
And how when the emotions were talking to the helpers
over the sarcasm,
they were saying nice things, and then it was coming through as sarcasm. I was like, yo, Pixar's a genius.
Yeah,
they're fucking geniuses.
So funny.
And but it was so cringe watching it, but I'm like, we've all been there. We've all tried to like impress new friends or someone.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Do you have any good like moments where you're like, oh, I was being cringe?
Here's my one moment where I was being cringe, okay? And I don't know
your one moment, okay.
Yeah.
Never cringe.
I don't have many of them.
Okay.
Because I'm not cringe. But like this is one moment I remember that I think I was being cringe, right?
Okay.
One time, growing up, we have a lot of people in the neighborhood, especially like on your block.
Okay.
Like, I'm from New York City, born and raised.
Yeah.
And so like on your block, you have like a lot of friends.
Yeah.
And sometimes they will like go out. Like a lot of times you were allowed to be outside without your parents. You just had to like, one of the rules was like, come home when the light turns on, like the street lights.
Oh, okay.
When the street lights come on, you got to go home. That means it's too dark for you to be outside. So a lot of times, like, your friends will go to your basement and they'd be like, yo, Ashlynn, come down. Come down. We're outside.
Okay.
So there's this one day, like, I don't know if I was punished, but like, I don't know if I was punished, but like my mom wasn't home and like I wanted to go outside so bad. And like my mom went out with my cousin and my older cousin. And I wanted to go outside so bad. And my mom was like, no, when I come back, maybe, like, whatever. And I'm like here with my aunt. And my grandmother, they're watching me. They're in the back watching novelas.
Love.
And my friends come to the basement window and they're like, yo, Ashlynn, we're downstairs. I'm like, oh, I can't go. I'm like, I can't go. They're like, why? I'm like, oh, mom is not here. They're like, just come down. Friends are the worst.
Oh my God.
Kids are the worst.
Egging you on,
as if I needed that.
Right.
So they're like, just come down. I'm like, I can't. And I'm like, damn, like, how do I go downstairs? So what I did, and this is so cringe, it makes me cringe to this day.
Oh my God.
Is what I did was I filled up the trash bag with a bunch of trash.
Okay.
And I like pretended that the trash needed to be thrown out.
Cute.
And so I went to my grandmother. I was like, I'm gonna throw out the trash. The trash, there's too full. I'm gonna throw them out. And my grandma was like, okay, but you gotta come back upstairs. I'm like, yeah. And like, I didn't. I like threw out the trash and then I went to go hang out with my friends and they were doing like pull-up contest. And so we were doing like a pull-up contest. And then,
where were you doing this pull-up contest?
Like by the basement, like this bar.
Please.
And I mean, my mom catches me, right? My mom is like, of course. No more than 15 minutes being outside. And my mom is gone forever. No more than 15 minutes being outside. My mom is like, no, that's not you. I'm like, ah. And so the cringe part to me is that like I threw out so many of my toys so that the garbage could be full.
When they weren't even. Oh yeah, you told me this. Wait.
And they weren't even like, they didn't even check the garbage. I could have threw out so many. I could have threw out notebooks. I could have threw out so many other things. You could have just
taken the garbage and been like, it's full. And they would have been like, okay.
But I threw out so many of my toys, and that was so I threw out my Woody.
That's crazy.
My favorite Woody.
Stop. That makes me want to cry. I'm going to cry again. Pixar, you're doing it to me.
No. So that I can go outside. And like, that was a cringe moment for me because like, I was like not thinking, and it's just so cringe that you just try to fit in and you're like throwing out garbage and then you get caught and like, how kids are.
Oh my God.
They're like, ooh.
Please.
My mom was like, oh my God. So that's one of my cringe moments where I like try to fit in.
Oh my God.
For me. What's one of yours?
Okay. I mean, I have my like quintessential cringe moment of in elementary school, but this is like, that's like preteen cringe. But I was in class I was in class. You're laughing. I was in class, and our teacher had gone to take like a kid to the nurse or something, or whatever. And so all the kids, she's like, all the kids behave. And, we were all giggling, laughing, goofing off. And someone makes me laugh so much that I fart. I fart. Okay. I'm in second grade. All right. I'm in second grade. I fart. Okay.
There's nothing. I get that you're like, this is elementary school, but that is like the worst time to do it.
Oh, because kids in elementary school with farting and body functions are just
so immature. That is the pinnacle of being immature.
Yeah, for real.
And them, like the minute, like the thing about that age too is they'll be like, "Yo, farted!" Like if you're older, people are like, "Yo, you farted," and then they'll like roast you with their friends.
Yeah,
but the kids, they have to announce it.
Oh, and so I farted.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I get like nervous thinking about this.
Don't fart.
I know, gassy. And then one of the kids in my class, he's like, "Oh my God, it smells," or something. His name is Zachary O'Connell. He was such a little nincompoop. It's like 2 feet tall. He's like, "It smells." And I remember I fully was like, and we were kind of sitting, I forget if we were sitting at the same like cluster of desks or whatever. And I just remember like being like, I would like looked around and I like pointed at someone else. I was like, "You." But I was like,
no, not the face.
Oh my God. And I remember the cringe was when I was like, okay, whatever. I farted, right? But I hate this. But then I had to use the bathroom. And I remember at our school, we would have like, we all had magnets with our name, and you would have like certain places, our door frame was magnetic. So it would be like, okay, if you're using the restroom, you're going to put your magnet on like the restroom portion. If you're going to the school nurse, you're going to put it on the nurse portion. And I was like, my brain was like, if you put your magnet right now on the bathroom side, everyone's going to know that you ripped ass.
Everyone knows.
Everyone's going to know you're Miss Toot.
Everyone's going to know you're Miss Poopy Butt.
Miss Pooptina. So I was like, I got to put it on the nurse. I was like, I got to go to the nurse. I did not have to go to the nurse. Yeah, that was mortifying.
Yeah.
I don't think, because I don't remember, like, in the...
I feel like if there's anything cringe we feel, it's in the back of our memory. Like, Joy is up there working overtime.
She needs a raise.
Putting the cringe in the chute and throwing it back.
Yeah, because I don't remember, like, as a middle schooler, I did show choir, which is embarrassing enough. But, like, I wasn't embarrassed. And we were in, like with how Riley was trying to fit in with older girls, I don't remember... like when I did show choir, there were older girls. It was like 7th through like 12th grade. And I remember I was in like 7th or 8th grade, and I would hang out with seniors in high school. And I'm sure I was cringe, but I don't really remember. And they were so nice. Like, first of all, also, I have to say, I really loved like watching the older girls interact with the younger girls too, because like that girl Val, like the coach of, or not the coach, like the team captain, she was so nice.
She was,
and it
so
was
nice.
And like she knew Riley was being cringe, but she was like so sweet to her, and I was like, yo, older girls are the shit. They're always so nice. Like they're so I'm sure so to that point, I probably was extremely cringe.
I just didn't know it.
Yeah.
It's even funny when Riley's walking behind them in the group.
Oh my
God. They're like, put your arms in, like, what do I do with my hands? Walk like her. She has swag. And then they're like, put your hands in your pocket. Like,
and then they're like,
that.
Yes.
I'm like, sometimes when you're with people that maybe like sometimes that happens to me, like, it not anymore, but it used to happen to me when I was like around comics that were like bigger than me.
Okay.
Like, sometimes I'm like, I don't know what to say, like have bigger credits than me. Like sometimes I don't know what to say. And or like what to do with my arms and my hands. I'm like, oh, the weather, man.
Yeah, what's up?
Oh, it's hot out here.
The train, horrible.
Open mics, we hate them, right, dude? Like you don't know what to say sometimes. So it's like meeting new people, and sometimes when you think someone is like above you in some kind of like
totally
in some kind of tier above you, like I get like being like who cares, murder, who cares.
Oh my god, it's so embarrassing. That's hilarious. Oh my god. Okay, so my question to you is, do you feel like you know how each of the characters in the movie have, like, when you see their mind, like their team of emotions, how certain people have different dominant emotions? Who would you say is your dominant emotion in your brain?
I would have to say anger.
You think so?
Yeah. I would have to say anger.
Okay.
I think she's running stuff up there.
Yeah.
I think like.
Do you think she has a mustache like Anger does?
Yeah. All the Angers have mustaches, no?
Yeah.
Even the female ones.
What's so funny? Did you notice? Sorry, this is a random side conversation, but like, did you notice how Riley has both male and female emotions, and like then everyone else, like when you pan to the adults, like it's all women or all men depending on their, like her mom has all women emotions. I don't,
maybe that's a foreshadowing that Riley might be non-binary.
Go off.
They might be they them.
Well, I really was hoping that she had a crush on Val.
You were hoping for that.
I said,
but
gay stuff.
Did you notice that Crush Island is starting to change? It's starting to have long hair. So it could be going there. Gaylor. But who's running yours? Like, who's your three? Because you know how like there's three main ones and then the other ones are to the side. I would say my three is like, I would say anger, joy, and maybe fear.
Okay. For you?
Yeah.
Sure. I feel like, I don't know. I think anxiety runs my brain.
The main one?
I do.
That's insane. I would yeah.
You don't think so?
Go ahead, tell me your top
I feel
three.
like maybe her or Joy.
Yeah.
I feel like they're holding on. They're fighting in there. It's like Battlestar Galactica in there.
I feel like your third is Ennui.
For sure. She's been there since middle school, since my drama teacher said, that girl is filled with anger. But I used to like be like, because I'm very dramatic.
That's why. Because I was like,
okay.
I was going to say sadness, but you're not really like sad. You're just dramatic a lot.
And I have big feelings.
Yeah.
And I'm someone I think, because I don't think it's sadness. I think I have big feelings. And sometimes I'm like, who even cares? Who even cares about my big feelings? It's like so annoying.
Yeah, no.
Because that's like what it is. It's like you think you're like, no one cares. Like, I don't know. It's like, it's like ennui is so weird because I feel like it's like your own body judging your feelings. It's like which I do. I judge myself all the time.
It was so funny too because Ennui was so lazy. Like had the phone
like the console was so fun. The console app, that was hilarious. Oh my god. Yeah, ennui. I feel like it's like anxiety, ennui, and joy.
Yeah,
but joy, I think joy is up there.
Yeah,
though,
joy is up there.
Yeah, person.
Yeah.
But ennui, I feel like gives me my sense of humor a little bit.
And anxiety gives you your energy.
Put her to bed, please.
But I feel like anger gives me my sense of humor. No?
Yeah.
No, the silence is. Was deafening. Actually, were you silent or were you silenced?
Oh my god, I would. Yeah. I feel sorry. I know I'm not supposed to do that. I'm blocking the shot.
Yeah, that's what's important here.
The money shot.
Yeah. So, anything you want to get off your chest before we?
Oh, okay. I have one more question for you. If is there an emotion that you feel that would be at your console in your brain?
Frustration.
Love.
Frustration.
Love. And what does frustration look like?
Frustration has like big teeth.
Okay. Big tooth. Love.
Big teeth.
Love. What color?
White. Oh, the character? I thought you were saying what color teeth. I'm like, okay, you're not about to give my emotions yellow teeth. That's what you're not about to do, mama. He is
Please.
Frustration. Wow, what color?
I know, like, I love buck teeth. That's so funny.
Buck teeth. I want to say like some like maybe like a burgundy, something close to red.
Okay.
Because, and you know, we talked about this earlier, like how we didn't know our emotions, like growing up, like even into like being in my 20s, I had no, like I really didn't recognize that when I was frustrated, I was angry. When I'm sad, I'm angry. How like, I'm like, no, you're sad. You don't have to be angry. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Like, I felt like anger was my main point. Like,
yes.
boom. Like, if I was frustrated, I gotta be angry.
Okay.
If I'm sad, I gotta be angry. Like, if I'm disgusted, I gotta be angry. So, like, you know, to that point where it's like the primary feelings.
Yeah.
I feel like frustration should be talked about because then, like, because sometimes you're frustrated and you're just like, you know what? I'm frustrated. That's okay.
Yeah.
So I feel like, but he like is very close to anger.
He's like maybe his cousin.
Yes. So I feel like he'd be like a burgundy maybe.
Okay. Cool.
Either a burgundy or like a hot pink.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Okay. So and buck teeth. Tall.
Yeah.
Fat. Short.
Tall.
Tall.
Maybe lanky, kind of like fear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about you? What's an emotion?
Okay. Would you consider this an emotion to be like wistful?
What is that?
Like wistful. It's almost like the cousin of nostalgia. Nostalgic.
Oh, the
old lady.
grandmother.
She sent me. She kept popping out. She was like, oh.
Wasn't it fun when we used to hang out with
and they're
friends?
like, not yet, sweetie, not yet. I feel like she's a cousin of, wistful. I would say, like, sort of, it's different than ennui, but I feel like she's like, sort of like dreamy, head in the clouds.
Oh, yes. I can see that
like,
for you.
Like, a little bit like romantic, but not necessarily in a love way, but in a way that's just like, oh, like, you know, wistful.
What's her color?
I think she's sheer.
Yes.
Sheer, but she's like lilac.
Uh-huh.
Lilac or like baby blue.
Maybe like a little bit cloudy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like not.
She floats, doesn't walk.
Does not walk.
Yeah.
Does not walk, has glitter.
Yes.
She's sparkly for sure.
Or she just has glitter coming off of her. And everyone's like, can you get your glitter off of me?
I love that for her.
Right?
Yeah. Definitely a girl.
Definitely a girl, yeah.
Definitely a girl. She like, she's definitely cousins with I think with ennui a little bit.
They're like step siblings.
Please. Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
Or like half siblings or something. Yeah.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah. Just a little bit like.
Okay.
She's like, wistful.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Okay.
So that's it.
All right.
I love that for her.
I love that for her.
I love that.
Frustration, yeah. Burgundy, buck teeth.
That's so funny.
A baseball cap backwards.
Well, that's just you, baby. Now we're just describing. You don't have buck teeth, though. Thank God.
Oh my God.
I wish I had glitter.
However, I
me.
do have burgundy teeth.
You were like white. I was like, what? Why are you mad at me? Why are you frustrated with me? Well, you're not a real person.
That's been the episode. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much. Please let us know what emotion you would have and what it would look like. I should have drawn a picture.
Let us know who runs your console or what feeling you would like to see on the console.
Yeah.
And let us know if there's any movies you want us or shows to
peruse, to watch.
We our next one is 4th of July, so it's going to be Talladega Nights.
Hell, nothing more American than racing cars, baby.
Nothing more American than Will Ferrell in car racing
and John C. Reilly, right? I can't wait. That's
so
going to be unreal.
Talladega Nights. Get your hot dogs ready.
Please
get your Wonder Bread hot dogs ready.
Hot dog real bad.
And please subscribe, and leave a review if you like us.
Leave a review.
Leave a review,
please.
Because that would really set us apart from another Lounge Lizard podcast that's been giving us trouble. Everyone's like, yo, I can't find it. Can you drop the link? I'm like, why?
And it's literally like a podcast about cigars, which is very funny.
Yeah.
But that one's not ours.
No,
so
it's not ours.
Don't listen to it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Love ya.